coming through when the growth look good on you. Best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
Yes, guys. We are back in the building. We're back with another post-match reaction. Yesterday it was the mid-off, the battle of mid-table supremacy between Liverpool and Chelsea. Boring 0-0 game. Couple moments, I guess, in the game. Both teams kind of flattered to deceive, to be honest with you, but at the same time they kind of lived up to their billing, both sitting quite low down in the table. Chelsea in 10th, Liverpool obviously moved up to 8th with that draw, just above Brentford. So, you know, it's one of those kind of games. But before we even get into that reaction, guys, please make sure you smash that like button. We are 10 away, I believe, from 200 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure we can get to that 200 mark. Hopefully we can get there, you know, before the transfer window is over. So to the game in itself. I mean, you know, not too much kind of went on. Chelsea obviously had a goal disallowed from Kai Havertz in the first, what was it, under 3 minutes of the game. So, you know, when that went in, I kind of thought, oh, here we go. Yep, this is another one of those games where, you know, Chelsea come in, they do a job on us. You know, Chelsea are very good at Anfield, to be honest with you. I believe it's only about 2 victories in the league since 2012 that Liverpool have actually gotten. You know, so it's not an easy game. It's not an easy game, regardless of where Chelsea are in the league, regardless of what Chelsea are doing, regardless of what Liverpool are doing. It's only been, I think, 2 wins in the Premier League. So, you know, it was always going to be a tough game. It was always going to be a tough battle. And obviously, Chelsea are going through their own problems this season. New players, new manager, new ownership, you know, trying to gel all of these things together. You know, and Liverpool, again, you know, not a new manager, same old manager doing the same old things. But, you know, with everything that's going on behind the scenes, I think, you know, that was to be expected in this game. You know, I predicted 2-2 before the game, so I did predict a draw. I thought both teams would come out a little bit more than they did. On the balance of it, draw maybe. I would probably say a draw maybe was a bit fair, but if I had to lean towards one team, I'd probably say Chelsea deserved it a lot more than Liverpool. I think Chelsea are quite unlucky. Like I said, with Havertz, obviously, you know, goal disallowed, which rightly so, just about as well. So we did catch a bit of life there. But Liverpool didn't really look like scoring, if I'm being totally honest with you. Now, obviously, you know, Jurgen Klopp stuck with the midfield that played against Wolves. So, you know, Bajcetic, Thiago and Keita were in the middle. But it was a bit weird because, and you know, Klopp seems like one of them people, you know, he goes extreme either way. You know, he's either really loyal, you know, too loyal, you know, as most fans will probably agree, or he will do some, you know, weird changes, you know, and just start shoehorning players into positions that you just think, why would you do that? You know, he had Harvey Elliott playing more so on the left-hand side, playing with Robbo, which I didn't think worked, if I'm being totally honest with you. Not to say he did anything wrong, but it didn't work. I wouldn't use that moving forward. You know, Gakpo, you know, kind of through the middle, then kind of out wide right. Salah again wide right / through the middle. It was just a bit weird. It was just a bit weird. Again, you know, I guess he wants all 3 of the attack to just kind of be interchanging. Obviously, Núñez started the game on the bench. I would say we probably did miss that kind of threat down the left, which I felt would have made a lot more sense. You know, in a game like this, especially where it's going to be a little bit tight as well. Chelsea weren't going to come there and just be totally open. You know, it's not, I didn't feel like it was going to be one of those kind of games. If anything, I thought we would be open. Positives, yeah, we weren't as open as we have been, you know, since the World Cup, if I'm being totally honest with you, where we've just looked like every time the opposition, you know, goes on an attack, it just seems like they're always going to score. I wouldn't say it was that type of game, but at the same time, they did have their chances. You know, they did have their chances. I heard Baditic obviously come out at the end of the game. He was obviously speaking about, you know, trying to just be compact and, you know, press and, you know, all of these kind of things. And again, it's so weird. It was like a weird kind of game to kind of do a reaction to. You know, I watched back the game and I was looking at it, just trying to see, you know, is there anything really positive that I can take out of it? Of course, you get a clean sheet, so obviously that's going to be one of the positives. So you would think in your mind, you know, that's maybe the way to move forward. But with going, would I say, so defensive, you know, the team just looked like they just wouldn't score. You know, I didn't feel like in the game, yes, we had a little 10-15 minute spell, you know, early in that second half, but I didn't really feel like we were going to score. And if we were going to score, it was going to be in that 10-15 minute period. But outside of that, you know, the game's a long game. And if you don't score in those pivotal moments and you don't look like scoring outside of those moments, how do you expect to win games, you know? And of course, look, Liverpool coming off like shady form, you know, drawn this game, lost the last two. So, you know, maybe Klopp finally, you know, has looked at it and thought, you know what, I need to change something. I need to make us harder to beat, which we have been in the last, would I say, 2 games. But it's just, I don't know. It was such a weird one. It was really such a weird one. Like we didn't look good, if that makes sense. I don't watch the game and think to myself, oh, Liverpool look really good. You know, I didn't think that at all, to be honest. I kind of felt like it was almost the same kind of performance, just without the other team having so many chances. Now, whether that's just down to the sheer fact that Chelsea just can't create chances as much as they would like. I wouldn't really put it down to like us being so compact. Yeah, and again, it wasn't an open game. Like I said, it's so weird. I'm not trying to find the negative, obviously, in the game in itself. Like I said, you got a clean sheet out of it. That is the biggest positive. And you know, when you've got 2 clean sheets on the bounce, where you come off a run of God knows how many games where you've just been conceding goals, that is obviously steps. And as Jurgen Klopp rightly said, little steps. At the end of the day, Liverpool do need to make little steps. I think we will know more in the next, depending on what he does with the team sheets and lineups and things like that, and the way we play. I think we'll notice that more in the next, would I say, 8 games. So that will make about 10 games. Yeah, once we've had like a 10-game period, then we can kind of see, okay, this is what Liverpool look like now. You know, I'm assuming he's looking at the sheer fact that we can stop conceding goals, but then also look like, you know, we are hard to beat, but then also create the chances. And I think that was lacking. And it's, you know, I said it on Twitter today. It's just weird at the moment. We either can't stop conceding goals, or we don't look like scoring them at all. You know, and that's gonna inevitably be a problem regardless of anything. And there are little components to that, I feel, in the game in itself, but just also as a whole. Salah, everyone knows he's my favorite player in the team. Elite mentality. Very selfish, which I like. I think, you know, the best players in the world, you know, who operate at an elite level, they are all very selfish. Don't think you'll find one who isn't, to be honest with you. Well, it's very rare, should I say. Let me not say you won't find one, because someone's probably going to tell me. But, you know, it's very rare that you'll find players like that. I think most are quite selfish. I even felt Steven Gerrard was quite selfish as well. I always felt like he was someone who always wanted to take everything into his own hands and not always looking to play the team game at times, just because he can do it. And that's what it is. When you're at that elite level and you're operating at that elite level for such a long time, you almost feel like, you know what, I don't need anybody else. I can do this by myself, you know, kind of thing. And I felt like Gerrard always had that, which made him the player that we know and love. And I think Salah is that type of player as well. But in terms of his overall performances, it's becoming a hindrance to the team. It is almost like playing with 10 men at times. But then, you know, I was having a chat with big up O, by the way. I was having a chat with him on Twitter, and he was talking about, you know, potentially dropping Salah. I was like, I 100% agree. And for those out there who want to drop Salah, I think we should drop him. But I can almost see the conundrum in Klopp's head. No one else in the team can get the goals and or assists that he can get in this team. Nobody. Like, there is nobody even close to that. Assists, yeah, maybe you could look at the fullbacks, but they're not really operating at that level this season. You know, but when it comes to the goals, no one's going to come close. You know, nobody's going to come close, you know, to the amount of goals. So it's like a conundrum that he's going to have, you know, and we know what Klopp's like. He likes, especially with Salah, he loves playing Salah into form. Salah has been stinky for ages, you know, probably since this time last year. this time last year, that it's like, this is where everything just kind of went pear-shaped. You know, people talking about, oh, since he signed the contract. Nah. He's been like this before this contract was even signed. You know, he's been performing at this level. But again, when you're winning, nobody says anything. And this is what I keep reiterating, is that when you're winning, nobody wants to or can see the faults. But now that we are not winning, now you can all of a sudden see it, as if to say it just happened yesterday. No, this has been going on for ages, you know, with Mo Salah. So, you know, I don't know what it is. Whether he's down tools, but then I can't really say that because he's still, you know, and I don't like using the stats thing. I really don't, because I feel that the stats are one of those kind of things. It could go either way. It could suit any agenda that you want it to suit. Whether you think the guy is a player is really good, like everyone bangs on about Nunes, and then they say, well, look at his goals and assists. But then you look at his actual performance and the way he plays, you're like, the two definitely do not match up, you know. And that's exactly what it is with Mo Salah. You're looking at his goals and assists, you're thinking, blimey. But then you look at his overall actual performance and the way he's playing on the field, you know, especially with the other players. I almost still feel like it starts to hinder other players and what they can do, what they're good at, you know. And then, you know, you're coming up against certain teams, and certain teams will see that. You know, Mo Salah has been pocketed by quite a few left backs this season, you know, and that isn't a good thing, you know, because these left backs aren't the greatest, you know, but for some reason he's just being pocketed. Now, whether that's because of positional from the staff, you know, where they want him to play and things like that, I don't know. But even against Chelsea, I just felt like he just always just seemed isolated in a sense, you know, whether it was centrally or whether he moved, you know, to the right to pick up the ball and stuff like that. I just always felt like he was quite isolated. Obviously, I know there was that pass to Gakpo. Going to get onto him in a sec. You know, that pass to Gakpo, and then, you know, Gakpo fired over the bar. You know, that was good. That was, I don't want to say vintage Mo Salah, but that's the Mo Salah that I kind of, you know, want to see. And that's the Mo Salah that I kind of grew into liking, you know, throughout his time here. But as an overall, he does need to be dropped, because he's had this position for so long with zero competition. Nobody else has been able to get in there. And if I'm being honest, that's negligence from Klopp, because the reality is, one, yes, we know he's a very fit player, but you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if this guy's going to, you know, get into a crunching challenge one day. It might not actually be just due to his own fitness. It might just be someone comes in, breaks his leg, then what? You know, and the team has been so heavily reliant on him since he's been here, that it's almost like we don't really know how to play. Only since Nunes kind of came in this season, we've shifted it. It's now been, we play Nunes ball, which is just hoof long ball like Burnley used to do under Sean Dyche. He'll either get the knockdown or run into space and, you know, do all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, we've just shifted the focus now from a Salah to a Nunes. Obviously, as I said, Nunes, you know, didn't start the game yesterday, but, you know, just in a general sense, you know, for this season. So yeah, with Salah, I'm not too best pleased. Definitely wasn't pleased with his performance yesterday, if I'm being honest with you. But, you know, that's just Mo Salah. Gakpo's another player I was focusing on as well. A lot of talk about Gakpo. He just come into the football club, so of course you're not judging his whole game and everything. But I looked at Gakpo and I looked at Mudryk. Mudryk came on yesterday for Chelsea for his debut. I can see why Chelsea signed him straight away. Now, regardless of what he does, because he might not actually fulfill any potential, he's not going to perform the way he performed yesterday. He's not going to perform like that all the time. Of course not. No player would do that unless your name is Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. So I understand that. But sometimes when you look at a player, you just want to see the reason why. Why did we sign you? Like, what is it you do well? You know, we even saw Calvin Ramsey when he came on for his debut. You know, you could see, okay, this is a player who's got good touches on the ball, good technique, you know, someone who can dribble, looks decent defensively. They didn't really get tested too much, but, you know, looks decent defensively. But you know what? I can see what we're working with here. Cody Gakpo at the moment, again, yesterday's performance, flattered to deceive, didn't feel anything, to be honest. And, you know, he's played 4 games so far, I believe. Yeah, I think it's about 4 games he's played for Liverpool so far. And I ain't seen nothing. Now, people are going to say, oh, but it's only 4 games. I'm not judging him. I can only judge him on what I have seen anyway, you know, but I've not seen anything, and people are going to make excuses. Oh, position, it's got nothing to do with that. Let me see what you can actually do on the pitch. Like, what is it you bring to the team? You know, I'm not asking for a Diaz impact, but when we signed Luis Diaz, You saw instantly why we signed him. Cool. Now, Diaz doesn't perform like that in every single game. Of course not. But you can understand and see what he brings. Hence the reason why I feel so many people get excited when they, you know, when they see Diaz on the pitch, and why so many people think we need Diaz back. So I can understand that. Even Nunes, a player that I've talked about quite a lot, who, not my cup of tea, but I can kind of see why we would sign someone like this. Someone who offers a lot of danger. I don't want to hate using the word chaos, because I feel like the narrative has changed a lot in this last few months. All of a sudden, chaos is something to be applauding. I don't really want to applaud that, but that's what he brings. If anything else, that's at least what he brings to the game. Cody Gakpo's not quick. He's not explosive. I mean, people talk about his shooting from outside the box. I think it's been absolutely shocking since he's been here. Shooting inside the box hasn't been great. Now, he'll probably obviously inevitably find his feet, and he might just be used as a squad option. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not here to judge him and, you know, call him out and say, oh, he's rubbing. No, I'm not here to do that. But I do want to start seeing eventually what the hell are you bringing to this team, because otherwise I don't need you playing. There's no point trying to force you into something if you don't even look like you're a fit. Bit like Minamino. Whatever anyone says about him, regardless of anything, he did not fit this team at all. At all. For everything he used to do at Salzburg, he didn't bring none of that over here. And inevitably, we sold him. Do you know what I mean? At a profit. Obviously, we got him for so cheap, so we were always going to sell him at a profit anyway, so I'm not going to applaud that too much. But it's one of those ones, like, you watch someone like a Gakpo, and I'm just struggling, really, and I'm trying to find something, you know, oh, he does this. I mean, he's good at when the ball's coming into feet with his back to goal, maybe, you know, I don't know what position then that best suits, whether it's off the left, whether it's through the middle, whether it's on the right. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just not really seeing anything. I'm really just not seeing anything. The midfield in itself, I felt they were all right. I mean, they were calm. They were calm. Pressing was okay. Passing was okay. Yeah, everything was kind of like all right when it came to, you know, the midfield, and the defense the same. Milner got absolutely burnt, but like that Mudryk battle. And it's so funny because when you're watching the game, and also when you're thinking about it, cool, Mudryk's coming on for his debut at Anfield. You know, that's a real test. You know what I mean? They really throw man to the lions, you know, kind of thing. Well, the Cubs at the moment, to be honest with you, but they've really given him a test on his debut, and I felt like he passed. I won't say passed with flying colours, but he passed. He definitely passed. And like I said, you can see what he brings, regardless of what he almost scored. You know, and I actually thought he was going to score. When he went on that little dance in the box and then hit the side netting, you know, I actually thought, crap, this is going in. You know, you could just see it. You know, the team just didn't really know how to handle it. You know, and I'm looking at a signing like that, and I'm thinking, good player. If you know, if he can continue that, Chelsea got a fantastic player, if anything, you know, on their hands. And they've signed Noni as well from PSV. So, you know, if he can then have the same kind of impact that, you know, Mudryk had on his debut, Chelsea are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And people need to show them a bit more respect, man, because what they're doing, as much as you think Todd Bowley's playing Football Manager, I think there's also a method to the madness. You know, he does have a team of people that, you know, who work with him in terms of the signings and stuff like that. So he's not just handpicking these guys from anywhere. You know, I do think there's some level of thought, you know, whatever people might perceive it to actually be. But, you know, in regards to like, you know, Klopp and everything, you know, his 1000th game, yeah, like I said, it just flattered to deceive, man. It's not a game you're going to remember anytime soon. But like I said, you know, you got the clean sheet. That's 2 clean sheets in a row, 1 in the FA Cup and 1 now in the Premier League. Let's see how Liverpool, you know, continue this. You know, let's see what we can do moving forward. I'm going to be interested to see how we then fare if he still decides to play Mo Salah, but then also has Darwin Núñez, because I think that the ethos of the team is going to have to change slightly. I don't think we can try and be so compact if we're going to play to Núñez's strengths, and that might be the problem. Because in order to get the best of Núñez, we need to play to his strengths. But if we don't play to his strengths, then he's almost just going to be kind of useless out there, either on the left or, you know, through the middle. So, you know, it's like I said, it's going to be very, very interesting to see, you know, what happens. You know, Diaz and Jota still to come back. which will inevitably give the team a bit more of a boost, because we are missing those two, regardless of what anyone thinks or says. We are missing those two, but at the same time, I'm not hanging my hopes on them because they have been a part of this crap season anyway. So I'm not going to act like when we had them, we were that much better, because, you know, we're sitting ninth. No, we're sitting eighth, should I say. So, you know, they have contributed to that this season. Not as much, but they have contributed, you know, to that. But I think moving forward, Klopp just needs to figure out a way where he can get the team being able to create chances, because, you know, at the moment, it just doesn't look like, even against Wolves, it didn't look like we were really creating that many chances. I never really felt like, oh yeah, we could potentially keep carving them open. I felt like it's like we're concentrating on one thing at a time. So we're just concentrating right now on how can we just be defensively sound. And again, like I said, that in itself, I don't mind, because we needed to start concentrating on how we can just stop having so many chances against us. And with Chelsea, like I said, they still had a few chances, you know, in that game. So it's just about minimizing that. You can't stop it completely, because teams will eventually have a period in the game, you know, where they're going to have a spell, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. Every team's going to have a spell. We had it. Chelsea had it. Obviously, the game panned out to be 0-0. So I think at the moment, for me, I'm just intrigued. I'm just intrigued to see what Jurgen Klopp does moving forward. As I said, Bajicic obviously came in yesterday, got himself a yellow card, which I was a bit disappointed with. He had an average game. He was never going to have the game that he had against Wolves. Like I said, Wolves and Chelsea are two completely different oppositions, you know, completely different. And I felt like people thinking that he was going to more or less have that kind of game. And I was thinking, nah, he's definitely not going to have that kind of game. It's going to be a totally different game, depending on who Chelsea would play, you know, in the middle of the park, and then what their jobs within the team are to do. And he's going to have different challenges and different tests. But again, I would say he did. I'd say he did okay. You know, he did okay. Nothing too good, nothing too bad. So, you know, we move on, and maybe he then plays the next game, which gives him 3 games in a row in the first team, around the first team players, playing alongside Thiago, Keita, understanding everything. You know, it might work out for him. Trent obviously was on the bench. I think he had like a minor issue, but as much as I want James Milner to leave the football club, we look much more solid with him. I don't know if that then is something that, for me, as I've said repeatedly, Liverpool need to sign another right back. I know we have Calvin Ramsey, but he's too young and inexperienced. So when we need someone else to drop in, I don't feel that comfortable putting him in there. I'd rather someone with a bit more experience in the game, who maybe is a bit more a bit like but like a Tomiyasu. Someone who is just reliable, but you don't mind throwing them in, even in certain big games and you know, kind of thing. I just think with James Milner, yes, I know Klopp said, yeah, you can't really judge him by his age because he's not the same like everybody else. And I get that. I totally get that. But, you know, when Mudryk came on, it really, and I'm not saying Mudryk could burn probably burn Trent, you know, in a foot race kind of thing. But I just think at times I'm like, yeah, maybe not a 38 or 37-year-old going to be 38 next season type of player. Maybe we start looking at potentially getting in a cover for right back. So maybe he sees Gomez out there. I don't really know. The centre backs I felt like they were all right. Robbo, yeah, he was okay again. But you know, I'm looking at both Liverpool and Chelsea. You know, both in the mud this season. Both performing poorly this season. And if I'm being honest, either Liverpool or Chelsea. If someone asked me, right, well, who do you think, looking forward, who do you think is going to have a brighter future at this current moment in time? I think it's Chelsea. I think most sane fans, I feel, would say the same thing. Like I said, when you go on Ono, who's willing to spend money, but then also just the sheer fact of the players that they are signing. I think that is, for me, very, very key in the type of players that they are signing. I feel like we sign players, yes, they either work out or they don't. Like, and of course, just like anything, but I don't really feel like there's any real middle ground. Minamino, maybe, and that's just based off last season, like of him helping us with the domestic cups. But it's like, other than that, most of them I'm either like, yeah, that was a fantastic signing, or nah, you're just crap, like you need to leave kind of thing. It didn't really work out. None that you're looking at thinking, nah, we'll just keep him. You know, keep him around. You know, he's a good enough player to help out in XYZ moments or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't really feel like, we've had some, but I just don't feel like we have that many. But with Chelsea, I look at, and again, we don't know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but when I look at Chelsea, I'm just looking at, and, you know, I'm in awe, to be honest with you. I would love most, if not give or take 80 to 90% of the signings that they have made, you know, since Todd Bowley came in. I would have bitten your hand off for them. Bitten your absolute hand off for them. And I think they would have done extremely well within this Liverpool squad, you know. So again, it's going to be interesting to see moving forward how both teams kind of, first of all, end the season. Funnily enough, both mid-table playing crap, but they're both through to the next round of the Champions League. So let's see what kind of happens, you know, from there. And the season's long. We've still got till May. Top four is something both teams and probably need and want this season. Will they both get it? No. One of them is guaranteed to miss out. If not, at the moment, I'm still thinking both will miss out, you know, for top four this season. Unless Newcastle or Manchester United start having a bit of a blip. If both those two teams can like have like a run of 5 games, I think that's what we would need, like 5 games where they're both quite, you know, just performing poorly and stuff like that, not picking up the points and thing, then yeah, potentially. Like if Liverpool can obviously keep winning and stuff like that, or Chelsea keep winning, then yeah, I think they can make it. But at the moment, again, looking at it in January, like I said, the season's long. If you looked at it right now, nah, Liverpool will not get top 4. And we don't deserve it anyway, to be honest with you. Like, unless we can go on a run, but we don't deserve it. We've been so poor this season. So poor. And another thing is, geez, man, we are so thankful to have Ali. So thankful. I don't even know where we would be. I reckon we'd be between 13th and 15th this season if we didn't have Ali in goal. Yeah, I think we'll be between 13th and 15th this season, man, because he just pulls off save after save after save, man. It just too many times, man. Too many. Like, we rely on this guy too much. You should not have to rely on your goalkeeper as much as we rely on Alisson. That shouldn't be the case. Any top team does not rely on their goalkeeper this much. You just don't. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you be relying on him so much to save you? You know, the defence and midfield and attack should be able to stop that even getting to you. We're not talking about like wonder shots from 40 yards. We're talking about just general play, and we're constantly getting just outdone all the time, you know. So yeah, it is one of them things. But like I said, 0-0, clean sheet. We move on to the next game. And then we just kind of take it from there, to be honest. And Klopp, as I said, rightly so, it's just little steps at this moment in time, man. Little steps, but a lot to still be improved upon, certain areas of our game. But we've, I don't want to say we've got a foundation. It's only been 2 games. You can't build it. I don't feel like you have a foundation after 2 games. Maybe, you know, once we get to like 5 games and we've got maybe 4 clean sheets in that time, potentially, and, you know, 5 wins. Now we've got this foundation. Now we can really start looking. But because we know how inconsistent Liverpool have been this season, it's just really hard to judge. And that's why I'm finding it difficult trying to get like the right words, because it's just difficult to judge how Liverpool are going to be in the future, you know, when I'm watching them, you know, today. So we'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see. But that's obviously my match reaction. For Liverpool versus Chelsea, 0-0. Guys, if you like the video, please like the video. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Should be back next week. Catch me with Mr. Jerry James and Roms Ish as well. Make sure you guys go follow the Equalizer for the banging captions. We should be doing maybe like a tactics board and just a little look at Liverpool, and then obviously ahead to our next game. But that's the end of the video. I'm G and I am out.